Hello, fellow hitchhikers. A few of the viewers have been requesting that I do an update on what I've been learning lately. I can see it's been quite a while since I did my last post on this, sort of that 90 days of learning in 90 minutes. So this will probably be a longer video as well. I've tried to queue everything up and get my thoughts organized. I have really spread myself in many different directions as I've gone down the rabbit hole and the rabbit trails of crypto. I think there's two overarching themes that I can say that have been guiding my decisions and things that I've done. The number one thing is utility. Anything I look at, any projects I look at, anything I kind of evaluate it, I look for utility. What can I actually do? And I recall from some of my earlier videos that was a theme that I was looking at. This has never been about investing or trying to maximize earnings. Of course, monetary value is an easy measurement to look at things. But if that's the goal, I don't think there's any joy or use in it. So I have been more interested in learning and participating in what is up and coming technology. The second thing that pops up here and there is nostalgia, sort of the sense of intrinsic value because it has an emotional attachment, or I like it, a personal taste. So those are sort of two things that I keep coming back to. Of course, there is confidence in the team behind various projects and so on. Anyways, so I'll be referring to those two things as we go along. I want to start with a monetary look at things. So I started with only a few $100s in, and have since taken my funds out that I've put in. And so everything that I have in here is been free. And the way it's happened is, and I'll explain in a little bit, it's come from Airdrops. But what I ended up doing is I went through with that idea of utility and nostalgia, and I placed about $100 in most of these categories. So I put $100 in a Matic, $100 in a Bitcoin, $100 into Enjin, Gullum. Digibyte was only around 80, or well, it might have been $100. Same with so on. The Uniswap was part of the free drop. I only kept 10. I wish I had kept 100. But by using these drops, I was able to set these all up. And you can see it's done very well here. I have also gone down the rabbit hole of gaming, and I'll show you what I've done there. So this is the Atomic Wallet interface. I'm doing all of this on my desktop MacBook computer instead of my phone for this round, just because some of the websites and things I wanted to show you would be better on a computer screen. And one thing that I've really learned is that a wallet, the true wallet, is just your seed phrase or private keys giving you access to the blockchain and the bits of information connected to that seed phrase on the ledger. So these funds here aren't in the Atomic Wallet. The Atomic Wallet is just simply acting as a software interface for me to see these things. I'm going to jump over to Metamask. Now, Metamask is an extension. It's also an app that you can put on your phone. I quite like it on my phone. It gives me the ability to web browse on a mobile device with the Metamask extension, which gives me access to lots of features on different websites. And if I change over here, you can see I have multiple wallets, and I can jump over to my Atomic Wallet, and I can see the assets that are there. Now, it will only show me the ERC20, the assets that are on the ETH blockchain. It won't show me the Bitcoin or some of these other things, but you can see there's that same 10 uni that I have, and it's just simply showing me that on the ETH blockchain, my wallet has 10 uni associated to it. It isn't actually unique to Atomic Wallet or Metamask or any of those kind of things. That was a concept I didn't quite have at the beginning, and so I ended up with 4 or 5 different wallets as I created a new seed phrase and a new passcode. Now that worked out for me. I ended up getting 4 different Uniswap airdrops, and that really got me started in able to explore and play in other areas of blockchain. And I'll explain what that is in just a little bit here, but basically it gave me lots of funds that I could play with. So MetaMask is one of the main wallet extensions that you pretty much have to get used to. There are alternatives, but I really think if you're going to get into crypto and go anywhere within this, you want to get the MetaMask app, and on your any kind of desktop computer that you use, install the MetaMask extension. And when you're setting it up for the first time, you can create an original wallet, and you'll be given 12 words as a seed phrase for your wallet, and it'll also be able to generate a private key. It's very, very important that that seed phrase stays completely safe and private, and that anytime you are entering it into something, it should be very rare, and only because you're setting up a wallet and you want to be able to have access to the same things like I have here. You'll see lots of scams where they ask you to enter your seed phrase, and all they're doing is trying to get access to your wallet so they can take all of your money. So be very aware of that. Okay, let's get into these airdrops that happened. I have experienced 3 so far. I'm anticipating a 4th one. And the last video I made, I talked about entering these little contests where I share a Twitter or something and hope that I get given $5 in tokens or whatever. And I'm doing less and less of that now. It's a little bit gimmicky, and really I'm just doing free advertising for them with the possibility of getting a little bit in return. But by participating in various ecosystems and being an active participant and learning, I receive airdrops. So Uniswap released a sort of backwards snapshot. What they did is they looked at, in the past, all the wallets that had used Uniswap and then dropped 400 Uni to each of those wallets. And if I look at what Uni is worth right now, I can see that it is currently worth $27.97. Now when I received it, I was all excited. I sold it on the 3rd day. So I sold right here on this peak at around $7, because most of these things I don't realize that they happen. And so it was on the 3rd day that I had heard about this on a podcast I was listening to. I think it was Into the ETH. Great podcast. And I sold right here at this peak, $7, and then all of a sudden it dropped down, and I was so excited. And I sold, well, I had 4 wallets, 400 each. I sold about, I don't know, I think I sold like 1,200. I was planning to keep some, and then ended up selling more because I was just so excited, and I saw the price dropping, so I had a little bit of FUD. I was like, take the money now. So if I had not sold and I come up to here, it would be worth 4 times as much. And maybe that would have been the best decision. But because I sold and had a bunch of ETH, I was then able to participate with other things. And I participated in 1inch. And 1inch is an aggregator. So you look at trading one token for another token, and it will search all the different ways. It'll search Uniswap, it'll search SushiSwap, wherever, and it'll find you the best exchange and the cheapest way for you to go from one token to another token. And I had used 1inch, so I also was able to get the 1inch drop, which ended up being another couple $1,000. Well, the Uniswap was like $7,000 or $8,000 in value, which was just crazy. And that would be worth like $28,000 if I hadn't sold it, but it's okay. Then I got the 1inch drop, which was, I don't know, it was like $1,200 or $1,500 worth. And then I just the other day discovered I qualified for the Pool Together drop, which gave me another couple $1,000 in value of tokens. Each of these times, because I haven't really put anything in, and I don't really have much of my own crypto, I have sold them and used them to participate in other areas in the crypto space. Not necessarily the best thing to do from a financial point of view, but again, this hasn't been about maximizing profits. It's about maximizing learning and participating. And if these airdrops and things keep happening, I think it will definitely be worth it, even perhaps from a financial point of view. And that leads me to the next airdrop that I'm most excited about, and that is the Axis airdrop. So back in October, I started, I think even September, October, somewhere in there, maybe in August, I'd have to look. I had used many of the funds from the Unidrop to buy Axes and started playing Axie. I also set it up for my son and set it up for my nephew. I did some breeding. Didn't buy any land at the time. Didn't have enough money, and so I won't get that. And on October 29th, a snapshot was taken of all of the wallets that were actively playing, breeding, and owning land and participating in the marketplace. And they haven't released the airdrop yet, but this Axis token, they say it went for sale for 10 cents. That was only if you, by lottery, were selected and able to buy a certain amount. Realistically, it came out around 40 cents, jumped up to around 80 very quickly. I think I bought a couple $100 worth, maybe $100 worth at that stage. It's now sitting just shy of $2. So it definitely has gone up in value. But here we go. This has unique utility. The Uniswap tokens, the 1-inch tokens, and the pooled together tokens have a little bit of other utility. But the 1-inch tokens, they're governance tokens, which essentially means you get a vote. And if you're actively involved in the community and decisions are being made, you can have a say in that vote, and means it's getting a little bit more decentralized ideally, which means as profits are earned, they'll be given back to the token holders, kind of like a dividend. But most of these tokens kind of end there. Governance tokens are important. They have a value and can produce a return on your investment. Same with the pool together drop. You can place them in, and you can delegate those tokens to go to another group or user, and they can vote on your behalf. But I find, and that's great, but it's just not something that's really connecting with me. I don't want to sink myself into one project in that way. So I look for different utility. The Axis token I'm very excited about. It hasn't, other than being available as a token, its utility hasn't come out yet, but I really believe in the team, in the Mavis team that's building Axie Infinity, and they are going to have both it as a reward for people who are playing and doing things within Axie Infinity, but they're also going to have a staking option for a way to own lots of Axis, put it in, and then get a share of the profits from the video game itself. So that Axis token is looking very promising. I haven't bought very much of it. I'm just sort of fingers crossed, hoping that the airdrop will provide me with enough Axis for me to be able to benefit from it. And I haven't been filling my bags, as they say, or buying lots of Axis tokens. I have been buying a lot of Axies, which again may not be the best financial thing, but now I'm looking at maybe setting up some scholar accounts for some friends that really would like to play and learn about blockchain. So that's a bit of a spreading the word and sharing the knowledge of Axie. Okay, so Metamask and wallets and how they work, airdrops and participation and being part of different systems. Some people are, creating 5, 10, 15 wallets, and they're trying to have transactions everywhere to anticipate future airdrops, sort of game the system, whatever. I guess if that turns your crank, I'm not interested in doing that. I'm trying to keep it manageable and just something I can do on evenings and weekends here and there. Liquidity pools has been something I've been participating in particular because there have been bonuses and incentives for participating in liquidity pools. Actually, I would like to also mention another token, and when talking about access, it's important to also talk about SLP, Small Love Potions. So Small Love Potions are a token that have one purpose, one single utility, and that is in the video game Axie Infinity, or when you're winning battles, you earn SLP. You can use that SLP to breed your little Axies, your little critters, in order to make more Axies, and then you can sell those Axies or use them in other battles or gameplay. This shouldn't go up very high in value. Some people start buying it in speculation. You can see there's lots of volume lately. There's been a few announcements, and the price has been going up. Now, I suspect the price is going to start coming down a lot, and that's because people around the world actually play this video game to earn SLP as their income. This is their job, and they try to sell it. But because gas prices have gone so high, gas prices are when you try to do a transaction on the ETH network, it can only do so many transactions per second, and so everyone pays more money to get their transaction to go through. There are solutions coming for that, but basically the fees are quite high. It's like $30, $40 for a lot of these transactions. So you end up needing to have several $100s worth of SLP to make it worth it. And if it's your livelihood, then as soon as it becomes worth this much money, you start selling your SLP. So this drew me to the next area, which is liquidity pools are something that I've been participating in, and I don't know if they've been worth it from a financial perspective, but I have been getting airdrops of a different type by participating in these liquidity pools. And there's a concept called impermanent loss that I don't fully have a handle on and whether or not I'm beating it or not. But let me show you what I've been up to. I have a couple other videos too where I showed how I did a Uniswap liquidity pool and set it up. But basically I linked my Metamask account to Uniswap, went to the pools and made a deposit of equal amount of RFox and ETH. Now I did this when the gas was lower. Right now you'd have to put in a couple $1,000s worth of tokens to make it worth it. Now if you maintained, and I think this started in November or December, $650 worth of RFox and ETH in the liquidity pool, 50-50, then every month I get a drop of RFox added to my wallet just as a sort of thank you or recognition for being a liquidity provider. And RFox continues to go up in value because it's showing real promise as a token with lots of utility. The Red Fox Labs is a venture building sort of VC kind of company out of Vietnam, well, based in Vietnam. People are from around the world, and they have built a thing called Cogs, which I'll show you in a little bit, a video game that goes with it. They've also purchased some sort of online shopping apps and media. It's got like 10 million people or whatever. They're really pushing into the Asian market and seeing RFox as the main token behind every transaction, everything they're doing. So if you believe that Red Fox Labs can do what they're saying what they can do, the RFox token is going to be worth a lot more than it currently is and as it was. In fact, let me show you the RFox chart. So here's RFox, and you know it's 5 times in value. It's gone up, or almost 5 times in the last 2 weeks. So now is not necessarily the best time to be buying RFox, but you know, if you talk to most people, they think there's still a long ways to go. What I bought back here, around 2 cents. It was 2 or 3 cents that I bought it at, and that was it was on Liquid, and then they did this exchange where they brought it over from whatever blockchain it was on to an ERC20. And really wanted to join the Ether environment. with all the network effects. They're currently saying that they've got this agnostic approach. It's going to be a bunch of announcements coming out about how it doesn't matter which blockchain you're on. They're going to have ports to go from one to the other. It sounds very much like the Matic protocol, or maybe Enjin, or anyways, we'll get to some of these other blockchains in a little bit here. Either way, so it's done well. It has 7 times since I started. But what's exciting is these utility liquidity pools that I participate in give me a drop of RFox every month. If I look at my Metamask, you can see that I have, $285 worth of RFox. A couple weeks ago there was 0 in there, but I got 1,950 dropped into my wallet for having this, providing this pool, and I'm getting that every month. So I'm getting, at the current value of RFox, $200 a month for having, well, it's now $1,500. It was only $700 a little bit ago. So it's doubled in value. Plus I got the $200. So it's compounding on itself. The SLP pool, I don't have any kind of airdrops, but the reason I set this one up, again, back when gas was a lot lower, you'd have to put in much more to do it now, is because I saw that SLP is a fairly stable coin, and ETH at the time when I set this up was also somewhat stable, but there's a lot of transactions. Because people are earning SLP as part of their wage, they're regularly selling the SLP, and because other players want to breed the axes and participate, they're buying SLP. So I saw this as a very stable priced pair with lots of activity, and that's why I set up that liquidity pool, because in a liquidity pool you get a portion of the fees as an automatic market maker, I think you're called, an AMM. You get a portion of all the fees that the traders pay when they buy or sell the token pair. However, there's something called impermanent loss, which is if one token goes up significantly compared to the other, you would have been better off financially to have just held the other token. I didn't fully understand that when I set this up, and ETH has since like 5 times in value, so I would have been better off just holding that as ETH. The reality is, though, I probably would have just spent that ETH on Axes or something else, so maybe this is like a forced savings for me. Either way, I think in the long run, if ETH ends up stabilizing and gas fees get under control and Axie Infinity becomes as popular and as big as I think it will, then perhaps this will work out for me. Though it does seem like a lot of pressure and incentives. People are going over to SushiSwap for more and more things. SLP's not there yet, but Axis is. So here you can see I have an Axis liquidity pool. I'm getting nothing in return for this other than a portion of the fees. And just recently, there's been a bit of a push to recognize that Axis ETH is now available on SushiSwap. The thing with SushiSwap is when you provide liquidity, you get given Sushi, which is a token that has value and you can sell. And right now the APY is around 100%. So you basically guaranteed to double your money within a year at the current rate. So I wish, woulda, coulda, shoulda. It wasn't available at the time to have it on SushiSwap. Now I wish my stuff was over there. However, to move my, $775 total in value over, I'd end up probably paying a couple $100 in gas to get it out of here and get it over there. So, within a year it would be worth it. I'm waiting. I'm going to end up not doing it. If I ended up with a bunch of ETH, maybe I would set up another pair on SushiSwap. But I've just been more excited in buying certain Axes, which I can tell you about later instead. So, yeah, I'm kind of more waiting until they actually release Axis staking within probably the Axie, maybe even Ronin wallet, which will then mean there's no gas, and I can stay off chain So I'm holding off on that right now, but mainly because I'm diverting funds elsewhere. So Loopring is another pool that has been set up for RFox. So I did move, because RFox had gone up so high in value, I split my Uniswap liquidity pool and brought the funds over to Loopring, because they too are having some bonuses and benefits by being in Loopring. Now Loopring is a layer 2. This is something else I've been learning. A layer 2 solution. So what you do is you bring your funds over, so your RFox or your ETH or whatever tokens, over to Loopring, and it costs gas. You have to pay a transaction fee to bring it over into this chain environment. I don't know if it's actually a separate chain or exactly how it works, but it is not on the ETH chain. And that means you can now do transactions for basically free, essentially free. You can buy and sell and trade tokens. Now, I'm not a day trader, so I don't do that in here. I'm just trying to participate in the liquidity pool and hopefully maybe get some drops or bonuses for being a participant. And then when you are ready to move things back out, you can bring it back to chain. So it seems to be, well, it's definitely way cheaper, and it seems to be worth it. I've looked here at my rewards. I just started this like a month ago, not even, maybe 3 weeks ago, and apparently I have earned $79.50 in rewards. So it's looking good. I haven't spent too much time in here, but again, liquidity pools, something I'm quite interested and enjoying. Not having a full handle on the impermanent loss. I do know that if one token changes in price, like here they say if one thing goes 5 times in value, you have a 25% loss. What I don't know though is, let's say one goes 5 times up in value, and there's some lag time, and then the other goes up 5 times in value. Do I end up losing 25% twice? Or do I gain back what I would have otherwise lost? So still wondering about that. But again, it's not just about maximizing profits. But if anyone does know the answer to that I would love to know an answer. If I have 2 tokens that are in a liquidity pool, one of them 5 times, and then shortly after the other one 5 times in order to catch up and maintain that original value, do I experience loss? It might have something to do with whether or not the pool rebalances itself within that time. So anyways, that's something I'm still learning and looking into. So Uniswap pools, Loopring, and SushiSwap are things that I've been interested in. Okay. Oh yeah, vampire tax. I did want to talk about that. So SushiSwap is a liquidity provider, a place where people that can go and you can buy and sell your tokens. In order to buy and sell tokens, you need people to provide liquidity. And SushiSwap started offering rewards. They said, hey, we'll give you sushi if you provide liquidity. And everyone started taking their funds over to SushiSwap. Gas was cheap at the time, and you're going to get free rewards, so why not go over there? And it was shortly after that Uniswap provided the massive drop of Uni to try and counter that and to bring people back. However, I'm finding that Uniswap is not providing me continual rewards like SushiSwap is. And so as SushiSwap draws people over and liquidity over to where they are, they call that a vampire attack. I've gone through SLP, Axis, RFox, different tokens that have utility. I haven't really talked about Matic. Maybe I'll jump to there now. So Matic is one of my best performers. I really, hindsight is 2020, but I put in as much as I was comfortable with at the time, and that was $100. And but I really was optimistic about this project, and I'm still optimistic about it. I don't know if I'd start putting money in now. Well, I haven't been putting money in now. But at the same time, they are one of these quiet projects that work in the background, don't make lots of headlines, but doing really good work, important work. And they've just rebranded themselves or expanded themselves to Polygon. So Matic is now a piece. Matic is now a piece of Polygon, and all of their vision. And essentially, you have Ether. Gas is really high. Transactions are slow, and so Matic provides a service to be able to offset that. It allows like layer 2 solution scaling. So don't understand all of the technology yet, but definitely able to follow what they're doing when I read through their information and their white papers, and I see who they're teaming up with. I think this is a really solid project. And so this is one of the things that, even though it is like 10 times since I put my $100 in the last year, I think there's still a ways to go. Not financial advice. Probably not the best time to be buying when everything's going parabolic like this right now. But this and Enjin have definitely been two of my most, I guess they're my gems that I hope are going to work out. Of course I did Bitcoin, of course I do Ether, but Matic and Enjin are the ones I'm most confident in and plan to hold for a couple of years. And hey, if this goes, 100 times what I put in, that's just awesome. These other ones, Golem, Digibyte, I think I only had like $70 or $80 in there. These are the kind of things now with gas so high, it's like they're going to sit there, and if they go big, if they break a couple thousand, then I can do something with. Otherwise, they're just kind of trapped there, and maybe it's forced savings. From Nuggets News, that Alex always says, you sort of plant your seeds. So these are lots of seeds that I've planted, and because of gas and the low amount that I've put in, they're just going to keep growing in the background. Yeah, an Enjin. Now, Enjin's a really interesting one. It is, let me just find it here. There we go. It is really working in the background to try and establish itself as the main gaming NFT sort of side chain to Ether. It is its own blockchain, but it's not trying to like beat Ether, but basically be the blockchain for gaming. And they've teamed up with Microsoft, and there's this little thing you can do here. It's kind of fun. It sort of recognizes women in science, and you do this little text adventure. It's kind of fun, and then you get given a POAP, a proof of completion. Proof of attendance protocol is what they're called, but like a little badge, a proof of completion for doing this. And this is all part of the Microsoft Azure technology. And so there's some good partnerships happening with Enjin, and there's a really solid vision. They haven't really released everything yet. This website is the future of NFTs coming in 2021. Yeah, it looks really promising, and may be something that a lot of these blockchain games turn to. Now, Axie Infinity, the big one that I was talking about, they developed and they're developing their own side chain in order to manage all of the transactions, in part because they're feeling like Axie is going to be that big that they want to have their own in-house solution that others might be able to use. But most games don't have the sort of size and momentum that Axie has, and to be able to use, team up with a separate team that's dedicated for a solution. So I really feel like Enjin has something coming. So yeah, I as soon as I start reading all this, I get excited. I start to FOMO, that fear of missing out. I'm like, oh, maybe I should be diverting something into Enjin tokens. I don't know. I only have what do I have here? I have 700 of them, and they're already worth 572. It's already 10x'd. But don't FOMO. Do your research. Spend some time. But I am feeling very excited about the potential that Enjin has. It also could be a total flop. Maybe they'll come so late in the game. Another project that seems really promising is Immutable X. And this is coming from the Gods Unchained game, card game. And I started playing it same time I started playing Axie, actually just before. I'm like, oh, this is really fun. oh, gas is way too much in order to get these cards. Oh, this is getting too expensive. And then it was like, oh, Immutable X is coming. It's going to solve all these problems. Months and months and months go by, and still no Immutable X. Now, I know these things take time, but you just start to wonder what's going on and what's gonna work out. Uh, and there's no real way to get involved with this. You're just sort of waiting for it to happen. Um, so we'll see what happens. But Enjin, solving NFTs, gaming, digital assets, um, seems to be pretty good. And they now are setting it up. I created an account, and so you can create your own NFTs for free that can be traded on their platform, and you can also start making your own games. Now, I've only just clicked on a few links, but that's got me kind of excited, because if they have some easy interface game making tools, this could take off. This is similar to, but different, because this is all interacting with ETH to the Wax. Now, Wax is, they call themselves the king of NFTs, and you can make your NFTs, your images, your game assets for free on the Wax platform. You can trade for free. If you sell, you pay a commission to the Wax protocol. I think it ends up being almost 10%. They have recently did this whole altcoin bridge support to ETH, and it seems kind of tacky, like a DeFi, kind of chasing the fad of DeFi. But the more I look into it, the more I hear about it, it might not be so much about DeFi, but more about providing a bridge for games that want to be on the ETH blockchain, but use the Wax to handle their NFTs, to handle their digital assets. So it might be some sort of bridge where you mirror, so you can produce it on the Wax, you can call it on the Wax, but if you want it on ETH, you burn it off of Wax and put it on ETH. I don't have a full handle on it. It seems a little convoluted, but at least would make sense as to why they made this ETH bridge. So, makes me feel a little bit better. There have been a few good projects. One project is it's called Cogs, and the way Cogs works is, I should log in. Oh, notice that it's a one-click login on Wax. It's tied to your social media, so I'm able to just already be logged into my email. I just 2 clicks and I'm logged in, and I can see my Cogs and my tubes. So I have staked 4 sets of Cogs. So these are collectibles, but remember, my reason is utility and nostalgia. So these are a whole bunch of little items. I'll show you what they look like. All right, so these are a bunch of like Pogs from the 1990s, and you can collect like animals or moments in history or fun things like that. And on their own, I wouldn't be super excited to just collect them. And there is they are neat. It's fun to collect them, but I wouldn't invest in them just on their own. But they have more than that. You can collect certain sets, and if you meet the criteria, you can stake them. And you can see that I'm going to receive 1,950 RFOX after 90 days. And hopefully it's for, I think, 4 or 5 cycles. And remember, RFOX has gone up in value since I've staked it. It's now worth like 15 cents. It might keep going up. So all of a sudden now I'm getting a couple $100 over the course of this for these Cogs that I have, and they'll pay for themselves. But there's not only that, they have also released, it's in closed beta, you can apply to play, but a game called Slam. So you can play with these Cogs, an actual game. I have another video where I showcase that, but the point is, these have actual utility. So you can collect them, you can have your favorites, you can also play games with them, and you can stake them and get an actual financial return. And as RFOX goes up, that financial return is actually larger and larger. So the Cogs, I'm excited about. I think there's some partnerships probably coming for the 3rd edition. This is the 2nd edition I participated in. I think 3rd edition will have some licensing partners. I'd be surprised if it doesn't, which will gain more momentum. So talking about licensing and those kind of things, I'd like to share about something called Street Fighter. Now, I ended up not participating in the Street Fighter, and maybe I'll regret that. In part, it was because I was at work when they went on sale, and in that evening I went to go buy a couple packs, and it was a 24-hour sale, but for somehow it was saying it wouldn't let me buy anything. It was like the sale was over. So, but I didn't really want to buy them anyways, because as it is right now, there's not much you can do with them. They have nostalgia. I remember Street Fighter. It was a very fun game. There's the characters. You can get the cards and play for a little bit as you merge them together and create new cards. But in the end, you're just stuck with some cards. Now, lots of people love Street Fighter. My son just told me that they're going to be teaming up with Fortnite, and so Street Fighter is going to be on there, so the skins will be available on Fortnite. That might draw more attention to the cards, and people might want to buy them. So from a speculation or a flipping point of view, maybe I should have bought a bunch of Street Fighter and then put them back on and made some money, and would have been good. I'm pulled up here a little screenshot I took from their Telegram channel where someone was saying, hey, they're really famous, and I can relate. I can't really relate to COGS, Blockchain Heroes, and other ones, which is interesting because COGS, actually, I've shown you, has utility. Blockchain Heroes, though, I don't really get either. For me, they're just random things. But then down here it says, yeah, with Street Fighter being so iconic, that's what finally hooked me in NFTs. Exactly. Also, first release will also be first. So these people are looking at it from a nostalgic point of view. They have an emotional connection to this, and so they want to buy them. And that's great. Go for it. I ended up choosing not because they didn't have enough nostalgia for me. It's kind of like the Garbage Pail Kid cards. I have the actual set of cards. So at first I was like, oh yeah, I'd love to buy a bunch of Garbage Pail Kid cards. And I think they're going to start being for sale again in Walmart. And you can get the wax equivalent of them, so you'll have them on blockchain and so on. But again, I'm like, well, am I playing a game? Am I able to take these Street Fighter cards and play some sort of game? Can I do something with them? Or will they be a digital collection? Which is fine. I have things that I've collected, but I'm also thinking I want to get rid of them because they're just in a box. So same thing digitally. So anyways, I chose not to. No utility and a little bit too much hassle. I'm out for now. Okay, let's carry on here. The different chains, you have the Enjin chain can act as a side chain, the wax chain can act as a side chain, way less gas to no gas, and it allows you to do things that you just can't afford to do on the ETH blockchain. I still see ETH as the one surviving due to network effects. However, ETH needs to get ETH 2.0 coming. If it doesn't get ETH 2.0 sooner, something's going to overtake it. The Polkadot chain is showing lots of potential. Everyone talks about Cardano, but I just don't see anyone networking to Cardano. There has to be a solution. Up in my web browser, I have this little gas extension. I used to get excited, well, when I first started into this less than a year ago, gas was a matter of, 20 cents, 10 cents. There was a couple gwei. And then we got into Axie. When I was breeding, I'd always look for around 15. And then, and then it's just gone up and up and up. And now we're looking at 105, 200, 300 gwei, which basically means it is, 100 times more expensive to do a transaction now than it was when I started just 5-6 months ago. So the value of my assets have gone up 6 or 7 times. The cost of doing things with those assets has gone up 100 times. And it's kind of crippling a lot of activities that would otherwise be enjoyable or useful. And so it's putting pressure on these layer 2s and these alternate solutions, which is good, forces innovation, but it's also stifling buy-in and it's stifling adoption. And maybe that's good. Maybe we're not ready for mass adoption, but if people come in and they have a really bad experience, it's tricky to get them to come back. If you can educate them and explain why it was a bad experience, Yeah, for example, to get into Axie Infinity to play that right now, I just don't see how a person can put together a reasonable team for less than $1,000. So to tell someone you're going to put $1,000 in to play a video game, it's pretty hard. Now if they play the daily quest, they can make that $1,000 in 2 months. But it's like, okay, so if you play for 2 months, you'll break even just on gas, or actually that would pay for all their Axies. So still pretty good, I suppose. But I don't know. We need to get this solved sooner than later. I did participate in the Serenity launch of ETH 2.0. I got up at like 3 or 4 in the morning and I got on the Discords and watched the YouTube streams. And so I was able to get a pull-up, a proof of attendance protocol. It was on December 1st, and I was able to participate in the Serenity launch of ETH 2.0. That was a lot of fun, and really glad. It's a proud badge that I have, and I was glad to be part of that and learn about the technology, how it's going to go from a mining model to a staking model. If I had a more stable internet connection, and well, now you need 32 ETH, so $64,000. But if back when it was $200, I actually thought about, oh, maybe I should, take $7,000 and get 32 ETH or whatever it was. It was going to work out to be just over $7,000 when I first heard about ETH 2.0. And if I had done that, if I had spent $7,000, it would be worth so much money right now. But anyways, I didn't, and I don't see myself right now running an ETH 2.0 node. But that is something I would quite likely enjoy doing. Either way, I was able to participate with this, and I sure hope ETH 2 is implemented within the next year, by 2022. Probably won't be. I think it's at least 2 years away. All right, I showed you already when I logged into the Wax, all I had to do was click my Google profile, and there's all the social profiles. And this is something there's a lot of pressure on. NBA Top Shots is developed by the same team that did the Crypto Kitties. Crypto Kitties is before I got involved in blockchain, but they are actually Canadian based. They're based out of Vancouver, and they have their Flow blockchain. So they have a separate blockchain like Enjin, like Wax. I don't know about Matic, if that's a separate blockchain or if it's the technology that joins things together. But anyways, they have a separate blockchain that they work with, and they teamed up with NBA to make these NBA Top Shots, and those went crazy high in value. But one of the things that everyone's quite excited about with what they did is when you created your account and you purchased the cards with your credit card and you went through the whole experience and got these digital collectibles, at no point did you really realize you were utilizing cryptocurrency or blockchain technology. And I think that's where a lot of these things are trying to go, is that it's just back end. It's just hidden. People don't need to know the technology. When you tap your credit card and it instantly pays, or you e-transfer or pay for it through your banking app, you don't care about the technology behind it. You just know that you were able to buy something and that you were able to pay the bill, and do it all with your phone, your Apple Pay and everything. So we are already at a stage where people are doing financial transactions and doing things completely in a digital environment. Those are all fully centralized, high-fee environments, and not designed for gaming or non-fungible tokens. So there's a huge future in NFTs. This is the year of NFTs. Everyone's calling for, when an artist puts together a piece of digital art and they sell it, all future sales of that digital art, 10% can come back to the original artist as royalty. When looking at selling tickets to an event, again, it can be tied to a unique identity, a social wallet, and a couple clicks. And then, anytime someone sells or moves that ticket to another person, you can again have a royalty go back to the original company that sold the tickets, and so on. There's all these different uses that's coming. So there are lots of jobs. Like, it's crazy how many jobs are out there right now. You go to ShakePay out of Montreal, you go to Newton, Canadian company, I think in Ontario, Axiom Zam out of Vancouver. The list just goes on, and they all have job postings. It's a booming area, and I think maybe as a retirement option, maybe I'll retire early and get a job in blockchain just to be part of emerging new tech and the future of the internet. Okay, last few things to mention here. Games. Well, I mentioned blockchain jobs, but games. So I am really excited about some of the things that are coming up. First off, let me show you in OpenSea. So OpenSea is an interface that can see all of the NFTs that are in your wallet and can organize it. So I participated in a couple Decentraland things and was able to get some cat eyes, and I thought I got a couple other objects. But since then, my internet's just been too slow for Decentraland to work, so I've missed out on several Decentraland events, and I never was able to buy any land in Decentraland. So I feel like I'm missing a little bit with Decentraland, but at the same time, if it doesn't work for my internet and I don't quite have the resources dedicated towards it, there's enough other things I can participate in. COGS, this was a neat thing. So because I participated in the last selling of this, it was a 3-hour sale, and within that 3 hours, if you had a whole lot of RFox that you used to purchase this one type of token, you got this special NFT, and there's only 150 of them, and quite happy to get this. Now, because I have this in my wallet, supposedly there'll be different events or different things that'll come up, and anyone who has a Kagu in their wallet will be able to receive a benefit or participate in that activity that's happening. So I'm really optimistic that my Kagu will be worth it. It didn't cost me anything in itself. I got it for participating. I could sell it for looks like they sell for half an ETH, so it's like $1,000 in value. If my internet worked, I'd be able to show you what it looks like, but it's not loading, so apologies for that. But either way, this is a Kagu that I was able to get. Another game that I've started playing, I was having a conversation with my son about, Axie Infinity and the fact that if you're planning to earn, you need to pay in order to play. And he pointed out, well, not all games. There are some games that you can completely pay for free and earn funds. Alien Worlds is one such game. And yeah, it's totally free to play, but you're not earning $4 an hour, you're earning 4 cents an hour. So you have to just be playing it for the enjoyment of it and the fact that it's on blockchain. There are quite a few games that are coming out on blockchain. One in particular that I'm excited about the potential for is called Age of Rust. Now, Age of Rust looks to be quite a cool game. It'll be on Steam and be connected to the Enjin wallet, and it's going to have 20 Bitcoin. And at the rate Bitcoin's going, it's going to be worth $100,000 pretty soon. So we're looking at, $100,000 is $2 million as the main hidden treasure, and there'll be other treasures in there. So it's almost kind of like a Ready Player One kind of scenario. You're going to be solving puzzles, working together, a giant treasure hunt, and gameplay. So it hasn't come out yet, but I'm thinking this is something that will really draw attention to blockchain gaming, and again is going to draw a lot of attention to Enjin. Another reason I'm optimistic about the Enjin. Another game, there's Lost Relics. This is downloadable. It's in very early development. My internet's too slow. I got to find a faster spot to be able to download this. I might try and play it, but again, you're playing a game that's free to play, and you're earning crypto right within the game. I've jumped back to Alien Worlds. It's finally loaded. I can tap mine, mine, and it will mine this planet, and the person that owns the land in that planet will get a portion of the trillium that I mine, and I'll get trillium for taking the time and effort to click those 2 buttons, and I will also possibly get a random card dropped into my wallet. Once I've collected enough trillium, there's a quick little exchange that I can exchange it for wax. And then the wax I can use to buy a cog, or I can use to buy other tools for Alien Worlds. Or if I collect enough of it, I can turn it into ETH or Bitcoin or something that I can bring back to my wallet and turn to cash. Like I said earlier, these things here for your time end up being a very, very small amount per hour, unlike Axie Infinity. 2 left. Sandbox. This is a fascinating game. It's actually kind of like a Roblox environment. So you can buy land, and then on that land you can build a video game and place your video game. Or other people, you can make it available for other people to place a video game on there. And because it's on the blockchain, you could have it be that it can be like a fan-based game. So I go there and I link it to my wallet, and then all my little Axies that I have from Axie Infinity can be used in a race, and maybe I can race my Axies, or I can do some sort of crowd event. So you can bring the assets from your other games to the gaming environment of Sandbox. So excited about that. I have to say, though, the one I'm most excited about, though it's minimally a blockchain game, is called Ember Sword. Now, Ember Sword, I have joined the Discord, I read the posts regularly, I've listened to all the podcasts, and this looks like it's going to just be absolutely epic. It's a MMO RPG. It's going to be a browser-based, so starting with PC. They're designing it to be incredibly fast load times, all kinds of new technology that they're bringing into it. And the blockchain portion will be, currently they're saying it's for cosmetics. So the cosmetics that you earn or buy, you will have true ownership, and you can sell or trade. So there'll actually be a player economy. Within the game, there'll be the harvesting of resources and buying and selling, and you'll be able to earn, I think, a token called Pixel. So anyway, so there's some blockchain components. As it is now, they're not going to have the items on the blockchain. I hope that changes. But anyways, this game is one that I subscribe to, I'm following, and I'm definitely planning to buy some land. I hope they give enough notice when the land is coming, and I'll be selling whatever I need to sell within my wallets to be able to get enough to buy, I'm hoping an estate, but realistically probably just a plot, so that I can play and earn a little bit more. You don't have to have land. You'll be able to just play just with a character, be free to play. Just a click of a button and you'll be able to come in. But I think I'm going to enjoy this. This is still at least a year away from coming out, but it's nice. It's nice to be part of things that are happening and part of things that will happen. It keeps me going forward and learning and all that kind of stuff. Alrighty, I think I have gone through most of the areas of what I have been doing and learning and working on. I hope you enjoyed it. I'd love to hear or read comments down below of things that you've been learning and doing, or things that you think I should check out. But be safe out there. Don't share your seed phrases. Watch for scams. There's lots. Find things to participate in. Have some fun. Make sure you're not putting in anything more than you're able to lose. If you couldn't light it on fire and burn it, don't put it into this space. But if it's for entertainment or if it's for learning, go for it. And if you lose it, well, then it's just the cost of a lesson. And if you get an airdrop or if you get something else out of it, well, awesome. Be happy and celebrate that. So take care, and see you at the next video.